Welcome to York Reacts. Today we're going to be checking out a new VR title, actually. I hardly ever check out VR titles on my channel, but I want to check this one out. This is Alien Rogue Incursion. Now, this is done by 20th Century Games and Servios as the developers. I looked into some of their stuff. It looks like Servios has done nothing but VR games, so this game could be in good hands. You want to make a VR game, you want to make sure you give it to somebody who's already made a VR game because it's a totally different kind of way of making a game these days. So, if you're new to my channel, I'm a game developer myself. I've been working in the industry for almost 20 years now. I'm a senior animator. I've worked on some cool games like God of War Ragnarok recently, Callisto Protocol, GTA 5, all kinds of cool shit. So, I'm really excited to check out this trailer. I want to break it down in a different way you might not have seen before. So, let's dive in and take a look. First, we'll watch this all the way through, and then I'll break it down.
Welcome to Berdan.
Carver should be just ahead.
Okay.
I just hope he's still the man we came to rescue.
Do you have reason to believe he isn't?
His lip sync felt weird.
Brace for impact.
Oh.
Damage report.
Engines are critical. Davis, put us down.
This feels like the entry of Callisto Protocol, actually. This is...
Now let's go get
Ooh,
some
here
answers.
comes the aliens. Whoa, that looked weird. Same with that. Okay, some environments. Alright. Oh, that was cool. I like that.
You don't get to choose how you make your money.
Oh,
You think he might be disloyal?
for a VR title, it looks kind of cool.
If you're listening to this recording, forgive us.
Ugh.
We're just trying to
Very low
make
resol-
our way in the universe.
Oh. Oh, that looked cool.
What kind of experiments were they performing here?
What the hell is going on?
Evidence of sabotage.
Ew. Ooh.
We've got company.
Whoa, what happened? Oh, shit.
Emergency lockdown protocols are in effect.
Davis, come in. Do you copy?
I kind of like it. December 19th. Whoa. Oh, I like the noise. Whoa. Huh. Okay. All right. Well, this looks really cool. But that being said, a huge but, there's a little, things I want to break into here. Now, if you look at the difference here in this game, you can really tell it looks lower resolution. It looks like an older game, even though it's coming out this year. And that's because of what I was explaining earlier. I might not have, but basically a VR game is a lot different to create than a normal game. You have a lot of limitations because the VR consoles and the VR technology, the VR consoles and basically what you're running the VR on is usually not capable of producing like super high res quality. It's hard to explain, but basically you have memory limitations and you have things that are a lot more limited than you usually are if you're making like a big AAA game. So that's one thing that you have to take into consideration when you see a VR game is that it may look a little low resolution or older style game, and it's because of that. It's harder to put as much stuff into it as possible. It's hard to explain, but that's the gist of it. Now let's break this down, shall we? Okay, so in this scene here, it looks cool. This looks like a straight ripoff of Callisto Protocol, though. I will say that because I worked on the animation for the first scene of the game for Callisto Protocol, and it's just like this. It shows like the front of the cockpit, and then they crash, and they're talking to each other, and the chair even looks kind of similar. This chair even looks very similar. Anyway, right here, if you look at this character's face, it looks very low resolution. Looks like a PS2 game, right? And even when he talks, it's like that. See, you can tell that his whole face is not emoting. You can really tell that his face isn't connected, right? His mouth is only thing moving. And it's really telling when you see a scene like this, because nowadays we're used to the Unreal Engine 5 and we've been spoiled as gamers, basically. And now facial animation is looking better than ever. And so when you put in a facial animation that looks really crude like this, it really, really stands out, especially to me as a viewer and a player and dev myself, right? It really stands out. And one thing that I actually really liked in this scene was that they showed the outside of this, like coming in and landing and crashing, but the debris itself looked a little strange to me, like right here. You could just see the effect is like just spewing up rocks, right? For some reason that felt a little weird. But like I said, this is very difficult to create a good looking VR game because of the limitations behind a lot of this stuff. You know, that's why I wanted to emphasize that earlier. But that being said, animations though, there's no, if the animation looks bad, it's just because the animation looks, you know, bad or crude. Like right here, this looks a little weird. So if you look very carefully, look, see, she doesn't quite grab that thing. And then look, her hand like pops. Her hand does this weird, like, watch, tink. And then that looks so weird. That whole area right there, she's trying to reload, feels kind of broken and it pops here and there. See that? And it looks even more strange just because of uh, that. It starts off kind of, you can tell that she's not like going in and actually grabbing that bolt like perfectly. And it just feels a little weird there. Stuff I noticed. Another thing I noticed is right here. In animation, you can use like FK or IK, they call it. And basically what that is like how the arms move. And when you put it on IK, it's called inverse kinematics, and you can basically like move the whole arm like this, right? Well, it looks like someone did that to this animation when it wasn't needed. So if you look closely, yeah, see? Her hand is like just doing these weird motions for like no reason instead of like moving with the body in a FK fashion. See that? I don't know if you guys notice it, but the arm is like doing its own thing independently, all weird, and it's moving like in translation, you know? It's kind of strange. See that? You can see it here too. Yeah, that feels a little weird. I love the environments though. Shout out to the developers. The environments look cool. They're not as high res as I'd like to see them, of course. You know, especially like the characters. Like wow, they look really low resolution. Like look at his hand. His hand looks really low, like low polygons. You know, and that's what I was explaining earlier. Is that you can't have millions of polygons in a VR game right now. I don't think. And that's why this is very limited. Like this scene right here looks like from a PlayStation 2 game. Like holy moly. I hate to tear into it, but it just does. And I know they're limited. That's why I want to mention it to everybody because I may be critiquing some of this stuff, but I want you to know that it's limited. They have limitations, so it's still tough on their end. I'm sure they'd love to make it look all beautiful. This looks cool. I love this spider thing coming out of here. Ooh. Ooh, camel spider is what that is, I think. Looks just like that anyway. Little alien baby. Blah. Some of this stuff is cool looking. Like right here, this stuff looks nice. This is a bit weird, okay? Animation wise. When he pulls this character up and he like when the alien grabs this guy and pulls him up, his feet should kind of fall down and then come up again. See this? His feet are constantly kind of like his knees and legs. They don't feel like they have weight to them. They feel like they're, see that? That feels weird. It doesn't feel like he's heavy and he's like getting picked up. The animation is just kind of strange in that area. Overall, I think this could be a really fun VR game. And the only part that like really stood out to me as being like, whoa, what the heck was this right here? This shot. So his gums, like the alien's gums and teeth and inner mouth, they look really bland. Like you up here towards the top of his teeth, it looks like these are just like metal teeth that are just like stuck on there. And the everything looks like it's kind of floating because of the lighting. I don't know what it is, but this just looks really weird. And you almost want to see like a fleshy tone in here and it being like wet and shimmery, and it's not wet inside his mouth, and it just looks weird that these are like metal, and I don't know how to explain it, but it just looks strange. The shadowing and everything doesn't look quite right, like the lighting and the shadows for this mouth. I know I'm being nitpicky, but it stood out to me a lot because we're used to seeing that alien character like doing this type of motion in the movies, and it's like super realistic with all these like, you can see his gums and all this different stuff that's like all, pussy, and I don't know how to explain it, but it looks really more detailed in there, right? And in this one, it just looks a bit strange. Like, look at this. Look at the top up here. Looks much better in this screenshot up here. Much better. But then again, this is like a rendered screenshot that they photoshopped and all that shit, right? So, this game looks pretty cool. If you have the VR technology to do it and to play the game, I'd say go buy it. Check it out. It's probably a really cool experience. And, as I was mentioning earlier, you have to take into consideration that they can only do so much with these VR titles. They're going to get better, over time. But as of right now, they're going to look a little bit lower resolution. They're not going to have as many, hair and detail and all that jazz. But it should be a thrill ride kind of to go through this game, I would assume, because VR games are kind of made for that like horror genre. They're just perfect for that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown for the Alien Rogue Incursion. I think that's how you call it. I did. It was fun to check it out. So hope you guys enjoyed that little breakdown here on Alien Rogue Incursion. I really enjoyed it. If you have a VR kind of headset and a technology to run this game, I'd highly suggest going out and buying it. Why not? Have some fun. VR is all about this cool horror genre, and it's perfect for it. A VR title is like you're in there and you feel like the real person, and this type of game could be really fun for that. Turn off all the lights, put on your headset, and just fucking go to town, right? So shout out to Servios Games and 20th Century Games for putting this together. It looks pretty cool. If you guys enjoyed this video, you know what buttons to press. If you're kind of new to my channel and you really enjoyed it, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. I also have a Discord. I'll link that down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.